Hey, I keep trying to do a big like hello intro, and then I stumble over myself like a big fucking ape. So hello is what you get. Hello, I'm doing a video. Well, that's all point and laugh. Um, I went through my iPad here on anilist. I watched 9 things. I think I counted. It's fucking been 9 takes later of me since I've last fucking counted. But one of them is like a single episode, and then one is a movie. So not as substantial as watching 12 long episodes. But let's just start because I'm fuming over having to restart again and again. The first thing I watched was My Hero Academia Vigilante Season 2. Came out this year. When I clicked it, it said like winter, so that means like early in the year, like January, February. However long the seasons last, you think I would know at this point, but I don't. Um, the opening and ending like really heavily features the one character from season 1, Knuckle Duster, and I mean they came out so close together that means they definitely like were just made at the same time. So they were probably like, well, Knuckle Duster's our goat, put him in the opening. He's in like 2 episodes total of 13, so it's really weird to watch the opening every episode and be like, there's Knuckle Duster, and he's not in it. Like, not really, not like compared to season 1 where he's like the focal point of the plot. In this one, he's like a passing fart or whatever. But I guess in my mind, I don't remember totally how long the manga was. I know it was bi-weekly or monthly, so I think that maybe like skews my perception of how long it really is. Because like the stuff that happens this season, I was like, oh, that's like the end. So realistically, I think there could be only like 3 seasons of this. Um, Also, before I continue, I'm noticing there's moths in my room flying around. They're gonna fly into the fucking camera. It's raining, like thunderstorming out, um, and so it's very humid in my room right now. So if I get very like hot, stinky, sweaty, and sexy, it's because my fan isn't on. Because if the fan's on, you won't be able to hear yapping. You're gonna hear the fucking fan, but you're gonna have to see me. I'll get all fucking gross and then hang out with my moth friends, and that's just what'll will have to happen. Anyway, I was talking about My Hero Academia Vigilante season 2. Uh, it starts off pretty slow. Well, let me give my ranking. I always like sometimes forget. I always sometimes forget to give my ranking. I give it a 9 out of 10 because not because it's closer to an 8 than an actual 9. I think. I think I'm giving it some like points for generally liking it. I really like the characters, and the last 2 episodes are very good. And then there's a couple of like really cool, sexy animation moments that have me like boosting it. But the very first couple episodes, it's just your standard like the main guy being a vigilante, and then it does what I was like not a super big fan of when I read it. Um, where in the original series, that this is a spin-off of My Hero, there's a character called Kurogiri, who's this like guy made out of like he's like dressed like a butler, but he's made out of like smoky shadows, and he has the power to like teleport anywhere. And then at some point, and I'm forgetting the timeline of like because like My Hero was going for years before the spinoff got started, obviously. Then the spinoff got started, and then they like start to not totally tie in, but in the original series, there's a moment where they're like, "Oh my God, he's not just Kurogiri, he's Shirakumo," and you're like, "Who the fuck is Shirakumo?" And it's like, "Oh well, he's the teacher. He's the teacher's friend when they were kids," and you're like, "I don't give a shit." And they're like, "No, but you will because now in the spin-off, we're gonna dedicate. I think in the show it's 3 episodes, in the manga it's however many chapters of that teacher character's backstory to show him with Shirakumo like in school." And it's just like I remember reading it and I was like, I'm not reading this. This seems like it should have been in the main manga, but it's in the spin-off. Like 3 episodes dedicated to this guy's fucking backstory about how when he was a kid he saved a stray cat and how he's friends with this guy that is a very very minor villain in the main show. I'm like, who gives a fuck? And admittedly, it is a fine part of the series. It is this. It even has like maybe the best like fight animation sequence of the whole season. But even with that, where I'm like, that's awesome, and I soy out, it's like I don't know. This couldn't have been in the main manga, and I guess it couldn't have been because it's in this. Um, and Aizawa, fuck, the teacher Aizawa is like somewhat of an important character in Vigilantes. So I guess you could say it makes sense from that point of view, but I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way to like lose out on scenes we could be having with Koichi and Popstep and Knucklebuster, when they're like, "What? You want to hear? You want to learn about Kirigiri?" No, I don't. I don't give two shits. Even though it does end up cool and is like fine to watch. But then when it finally does cut back to Koichi, there's like a really great character moment for a side character from season one, Captain Celebrity, in the last two episodes that I won't spoil, even though it would probably make the video better if I did my recap bullshit. But I won't, especially because, stuff I watched at the beginning of the month is always harder to be like, and then this happened, because I don't fucking remember. But yeah, I don't think season 3 has been announced yet. It would be really fucking stupid to do like 60% of the manga and then be like, we're not doing that anymore. Like, maybe if it was like early 2000s, I would be like, if it was the early 2000s, they would have done one season of Vigilantes, and then like till this day people would have been like, are we ever going to get more Vigilantes? And we wouldn't. But because it's modern day, it makes total sense to get a third season, but hasn't been announced yet. And like I said, season 2 was in like January or February. So we'll be waiting for season 3 to be announced. If it doesn't, cringe, gay. All right, moving on from that, I watched Black Clover, which is kind of cheating because I had already watched like 50-ish episodes. Like, I watched the same 50 episodes twice across like multiple years. Where like when the anime came out, let's go all the way back in time. It's 2017. I'm about to go to college. I see a trailer for this new shonen anime called Black Clover. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I click the link and I watch the trailer. And then it's like saying all the right things of like, there's this kid. He has no magic in a world full of people with magic. But, he's a go-getter. And he says he's going to be the Wizard King. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like I could get around. I could get behind that. I like an underdog story. I'm a Naruto fan. Then he goes, even though he has no magic, he gets one of the magic books, and he pulls out a sword. Swords are pretty cool, and the sword can cut through other people's magic, so his whole thing is just fucking over all the people that do have magic. I'm like, okay, they're cooking. And there's a point, throughout the trailer, he kept saying like, the main kid, Asta, going like, oh, I'm going to be the next Wizard King, and I'm like, okay, this reminds me of like, growing up, I loved One Piece or Naruto, and they're constantly saying they were going to be king of the pirates, they're going to be the Hokage. I'm like, okay, he's saying the right things, and there was a point where, if I remember right, this is the end of the trailer, where there's like a great move happens, and he goes, my magic is never giving up, and I was like, let's fucking go, like, oh my god, it was like peak, like, I was like, they're making this show for me, this is going to be the best thing ever. And then I think I only watched 5-6 episodes in real time when it was airing weekly back then, before I was like, fuck this. And I switched to the manga because the pacing in those early days are like, it's rough. It's like episode 2 or 3 that is a whole 20-minute long episode about like 4 panels of the manga, which like it takes you 2 nanoseconds to like read. Even like it's like wordless panels also. Like you look at the page, you see the information, and then you move on. And they were like, let's milk that real quick. Like, what are we fucking doing? But so initially I watched like 6 episodes, then I read the manga instead. And then at one point I was like, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna watch Black Clover. Watched 50 episodes, didn't keep watching. Then years pass or whatever the fuck, and I'm like, and at this point, I'm gonna get some information. At some point, I read it again. I read it a second time because the first time I was reading it weekly, and I was like, it's whatever. Like, it's good enough. It's like 6. It's like a 6 out of 10. And then in like 2023, 2024, I was like, I'm gonna reread Black Clover. And at one, I'm losing my mind. I reread it and I like it way more. I'm like, oh, it's like a 8 out of 10. And I think it's around then where I also watched those same first 50 episodes again for some fucking reason. And I'm like, yippee! And then I stopped watching it again. So then this time I'm like, I was watching like a lot of romance anime in a row, and I was like, I gotta like inject some hype and aura into my veins, and watch a fucking action show. You know, Black Clover, the manga. There's a moth right in front of me. Go away. The manga ended somewhat recently. Like, I don't know when, but like at some point this year, the final chapters came out. So I was like, there has never been a better. Oh, I know what it was. We looped up. The logic loop has ended. I know what I'm talking about now. The Black Clover anime got announced that it was like coming back, and then within that time also the manga ended. So it's like there's no better time to watch Black Clover than to in preparation to watch season 2, which I think is October, if I remember right. That might be wrong. I might have made that up, but it's coming back. So I was like, well, I want to watch what's out. So I locked the fuck in. I watched Black Clover really quickly. It really helped that like the arcs are really short. Like it's only this fuck. I feel like that's definitely getting picked up by the mic. Also, I fucking slamming my iPad down. Let me move that. It's 170 episodes, and I was watching like a lot really quickly. So and like arcs were only like around. Did I just repeat myself? Whatever. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to watch a fucking idiot figure out how to talk in real time. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I wanted to watch until, I wanted to catch up before season 2 is my point. Before I just repeat the same thing again and again and again and again. I'm not going to recap 170 episodes worth of fucking, and then Asta did this, and then did this, and it was pretty cool. I'm not going to do that. Especially because, for, something that I've rewatched and reread, like I just said multiple times, basically. You'd think I would at least be like, well, the first 50 episodes, let me run it back. But no, I don't. Fuck if I know. But if you like shonen action slop, like me, can't get enough of it. It's pretty good. Like, I remember one thing that kind of bugged me was that it was on a weekly release cadence. And again, we get the modern times. They don't really do that anymore. Like, even like One Piece was the last bastion of like a show being weekly, and then before the year even started, I think it was, they were like, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to do chunks of like however many episodes, and then we're going to go on break for 6 months or something. It's like, we're only going to do like this many episodes in a year, so like get used to that. But Black Clover was weekly, which for a show that was weekly, weirdly not a lot of filler until the end, where, I mean, there was that episode I was just bitching about where it was like 4 panels stretched into a 20-minute episode. That was cringe. But when I was watching it, and a thing that helped me speed blitz it was in the final arc. The final arc of the anime is just filler, basically. I think they were probably caught up with the manga at that point. And then they're like setting up a point to end it, but before they do that, I would click next episode and I would be like, did this happen? Was this filler? Did they make this up? You'd think for something I fucking read twice, I'd be like, this didn't happen, next. But sometimes I would be watching and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally remember this. And then like halfway through the episode, I would be like, this is all bullshit. And then click next. So you know what? I have it marked down that I watched 170 episodes. That's not totally accurate, but it's kind of what I do for any shonen series that has like filler. Like I definitely have somewhere in my completed list that I watched like all of Naruto Shippuden, which is not true. I definitely skipped. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of the filler, but like when I watched it as a grown up, I'm skipping that shit. But yeah, I think Black Clover's great. I think if it came out now, we could live in a world where Black Clover is a little more popular. If they if it got the treatment that Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen got, where like it could just be, especially Black Clover's arcs are so short. I think the longest one, the arcs get longer the longer you get into it, because it was like pretty consistently like 10-ish, less or more long arcs. So it was like they were doing the 12 episode structure of shorter anime for the arcs, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. So imagine if they did that, because I think there's like, it's like the like big major fights. So it's like the team versus the Midnight Sun. There's a fight when Asta unlocks his like demon mode. That's like the best looking thing of the whole thing. Unfortunately, there's another Asta fight that like gets shit stomped. Like it looks like shit and it's ugly as fuck. And I'm like, what are we doing to make a fight with Yuno look good? And the fight with Yuno did look good, but like he's not Asta. I want the Asta fights to look good. Um, so like unlike like Demon Slayer or JJK, where like every fight is like whoa sugoi and looks good. It's like there's like 5 fights across 170 episodes that like look spectacular, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Hopefully, when it comes back for season 2, it'll be however many episodes and they can like make more look good, ideally, because I don't know. I might be making this up, but I think the same team that does Bleach is the team that did Black Clover, and Bleach's current season is only 10 episodes long. So 2 months will pass, Bleach will be over, and that team can go work on Black Clover. Surely, please, I need this. I need to give Black Clover season 2 a 9 just because it looks so good. Yeah, okay, I'm yapping about fucking nothing now, so I think I'm gonna move on. Black Clover, pretty good. 8 out of 10. That's as good as I give something that doesn't like that I don't think is like kind of like amazing, incredible, or like affecting me emotionally. But Black Clover, good. If you like action show, watch it. And then next we got One Piece Heroines, which is a series of novels in the One Piece world about the women. So it's fucking dog shit now. I just fucking go full red pill grifter. I'm like, I hate women. I always have, always will. No. There's a series of novels. I think it's a series of novels called One Piece Heroines, where like the different volumes or chapters are about the different like women of the One Piece world. And when they announced this, I was like, oh, cool. It'll be like a little mini series about One Piece heroines. And then it was one episode. And I was like, huh. I'm pretty sure I remember them saying they were going to do multiple episodes. And maybe they are later, but right now it's just the one episode. It was It was an episode about Nami, and I love Nami. Always have, always will. But it's an episode about Nami like going to get new shoes. And that's the kind of like you watch actual One Piece to see peak hype and aura, and you watch One Piece heroines to see Nami buy new shoes. And not that it's not good, because I gave it an 8. I gotta stop slamming my iPad. Holy shit! I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that's on the mic. I'll hold it like this so that I can't have the flap. I can't have my wet flaps out. It's basically like she is fighting in the beginning of the episode, and then her shoes break. So then they like land at whatever island town, and she's like, "Hey, fuckface, your shoes broke mid-fight. Your advertisements all say these are shoes you can wear in a fight for sexy pirate ladies. You got the pirate empress Bo Hancock on your goddamn marketing material. What's the deal?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, the shoes we make are garbage. We just make them to look cute, and that's a marketing lie." But then there's like a shoemaker. There's like a big like shoemaker guy, I forget his name, but he was voiced by Dio from JoJo. I remember clocking that. I'm like, that's Dio's voice. I'll just call him Dio. So Dio is this like super flamboyant like businessman that's like, I don't care if my stuff's good or not. All that matters is if it sells. And then he twiddles this evil mustache. And he has a assistant that's like the real lady that's like, she agreed to go into business with him to like make good quality shit. But she's like relegated to just be his assistant while he's like being the front of the company, and everyone's like, he's a beast. We love that guy. So then Nami meets her and is like, I want her to make my shoe because unlike you, she's not a fucking dipshit. And he's like, oh, whoa, what's with the third degree? No need to shit on the little guy. And then I think, oh yeah, the beginning of the episode when Nami was fighting all those guys, she gets her treasure stolen, and the pirates that stole it gave it to Dio, so she's like planning a heist, and because it's One Piece heroines, the only person she gets to help her is Robin, the other woman on the crew. And you only briefly see, I think you only see silhouettes of Luffy and Zoro. You do see Sanji, but he has no dialogue, and it's just him like giving Nami and Robin food. But then the rest of the episode is Nami like going in for for part of the heist, she agrees to be a model for his fashion show. And it's like during my cats are fighting during the fashion show, that's when the heist takes place. But it's not like amazing. I did give it an 8, and I just fucking said, I'm like, if it's an 8, so that's really good for me. That's like as good as you can get without being special. But to be fair, I am a One Piece simp. I think even like when I watched all the One Piece movies and the ones that were like whatever, I still gave a 7 or whatever. I'm biased. I'm One Piece biased. I'm based in One Piece pilled. I'm not gonna pretend I'm not. Although I do think that this is good. It's very, very prettily animated, and unlike One Piece, which looks like a more classic like cartoony anime, they made Nami and Robin like hyper realistic, like in ye old creepypastas. No. They made them. It's just a different art style where they look more like real human beings and not anime fuck toys. So that you have that going for it. I definitely was disappointed that it's only one episode because I know there's like a Nami chapter, a Robin chapter, a Perona chapter, a Tashigi chapter, a chapter about I think her name is Reiju, Sanji's sister, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. They'll do like a little mini series about all the. And they're like one episode only about Nami, which like maybe if it did well enough, they'll do more. I don't really know about that. I hope they do. You know, it was enjoyable. It was fun. Shut up. All right, let's move on. I don't have much more to say about that. Other than that, you know, it good. One Piece good. I like One Piece. Not to be controversial, but I like One Piece. Next on the list, we have. I gotta remember how to say. They say this a lot because it's the name of the thing. Magie Lumiere, Magical Girls Inc. And it's this. They have Magia Lumiere as one word, so I like it. Looks like gibberish, especially because how often are you using the word Lumiere in your daily life? Like maybe if you're like going to Google and typing in like Lumiere Rule 34, so you can get your rocks off to some Beauty and the Beast shit. That's not me. Maybe that's you. It's not me. But the basic idea is that in the world, it's like magical girls that are like commercialized. So it's like instead of clocking into Starbucks, you would clock onto Magia Lumiere, and then you would become a magical girl, and then like get hired as like a cop for like a bounty hunter cop for hire type beat, where it's like we're getting attacked by a giant fucking flower monster, help us. And they're like, oh, Magia Lumiere is the only one close, we'll hire them, and their rates are cheap as fuck, hire them. And I don't really have a lot to say about this one other than that it's fucking boring. I did give it a 6 because I didn't like truly fucking hate my time watching this. It's something that's been on my list for a while. I think it came out last year. 2024, 2025 is when it came out, I think. One of those years is when it came out. I also, the manga I think is on Viz, so I'll like see it and I'm like, there's that thing I want to read. And then season 2 just started to air, so I was like, okay, I'll finally fucking watch this. And it's just so fine, you know. It'll be like they're hanging out at the office and they're like, we need to go be magical girls, and they go be magical girls and they save the day or whatever, and it's just fine. It's closer to a 5 than a 6. I guess I gave it a 6, but and I am planning on watching season 2 because I didn't like truly hate it, but there's not a lot to say. It's like the main girl is like introduced as kind of a klutz, but then like also she like reads a lot, so she's a fucking dork smart girl, and then like she's reads so much she's good at memorization, and for some reason that makes her a good magical girl. I don't know. It's not that interesting, to be honest, but yeah, 6 out of 10. It's so boring I can't even remember the episodes to be like, here's what happened. Next on the list we got Dead Account. This is a show I started to watch this. Did this come out this year? Yeah, this came at the beginning of the year. Had it on my radar because I thought Dead Account was a kind of cool name. Visually, not much, like the thumbnail sucks. It's like a guy with blue hair and like flaming fists. It looks generic as fuck. But Dead Account, I was like, okay, you know what? The name's like cool enough that I'll check it out. I think I read the synopsis before I wanted to watch it, maybe. Who knows? I did watch the first 6 episodes of this very drunk. So keep that in mind. I watched this. There was a day where in my area, the whole area went total blackout. There was no power from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., which doesn't affect your average Joe. But a guy like me stays up till 5 in the morning every single fucking night. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, what do I do? So I got super drunk and fucking watched this. But the basic idea In episode 1, there's this guy, and he's like, oh man, I just can't stop fucking trolling dickheads on Twitter, dude. Oh my god. When they reply to me and they call me the F slur, I just get so hard. And I'm like, what are we doing? And he's like, and I have to do this because it makes me money. And it's like, how does this make you money? I guess it's like he's a grifter, but they make it seem like he just goes on Twitter and he's like, you're gay. And people are like, you're gay. And then for some reason that gives him enough money to cover his sister's medical expenses, his sister who's in the hospital. And then as the episode goes on, he becomes addicted to eating like cookies and donuts and shit, and it's like, what? And then someone shows up at his door and is like, you're that dickhead that flamed me on Twitter, I hate you. And he's like, okay man, let's fight, it's fine. Then like they prepared a fist fight, and the guy he's gonna fist fight like pulls out a magical hammer and starts. If I get details wrong, remember, I was drunk, okay? Just bear with me. So what happened? Because the whole time he's like he's just like me for real. He's not leaving his room. All he does is sit in his fucking room and eat donuts and shit. And I'm like, oh, he is that's me. And he's texting his sick sister because that's the only his two joys in life are texting his sick sister and flaming guys on twitter.com. But then this other guy shows up at his house and is like, hey, by the way, dickhead, I really didn't think that was nice of you to be mean to me on Twitter, and also, your sister's dead. And he's like, oh, my sister's not dead, I was texting her like 4 minutes ago. And it's like, that's a ghost. So then we get to the premise of the whole show, which is that people will die, but when you die, unless someone, like your family or your friends, has access to your accounts and like manually deletes them, your accounts stay alive. So basically what happens is that there's like this digital version of the people in the verse that when they die live on through their accounts as like ghosts, and then the longer they stay as these, that's why it's called dead account. So the longer these dead accounts like live, they become like ghosts. And the little sister, sorry, I'm losing my fucking mind. The little sister, he's like, she's not dead, blah blah blah. He's like, dickhead, your sister's dead. Okay, I don't know how to sugarcoat this for you. She's a goddamn corpse. You're texting a ghost. And then the ghost of the little sister like morphs into this creepypasta monster. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that, I read creepypastas a lot, so I'm like eating this shit up. And then he has to kill his ghost sister by awakening his own magic powers. Like the other guy has a big hammer. And the main guy could like channel flames. And I forget the lore reason, but it's like, they call them flame baiters. He's a flame baiter. I'm a masturbator. They call them flame baiters. So then that he like, he's because he's baiting people online or whatever. It's fucking stupid. I'm explaining it out loud. I'm like, hang on, that's kind of gay. But he gets the power to like channel fire through his body, and then he's good at punching people. The more I explain it, I gave it a 6 because it is fine, but I'm like, hang on, this sounds like it kind of fucking sucks. So then he like punches his ghost sister to death with his flame fists. It sounds so fucking lame right now. And then he like joins the school of witchcraft and wizardry for people that kill ghosts. And I'm trying to remember. If I remember correctly, you only see 3 of the ghosts the whole time. And there's this one. And then he, like, gets part of his team, which is, like, him, Sasuke, and Sakura. And then they go to a mall. And then a ghost is, like, that's obsessed with being perceived as, like, beautiful is there. She also looks like a creepypasta monster, which is cool. They, like, barely beat that ghost. Oh, yeah, there's like an underlying theme that there's like a super flame baiter that they have to beat, like Voldemort, and I think for whatever reason that flame baiter and the main guy have the exact same flames, even though every flame baiter has different flames. I'm falling asleep being like, oh, it's so lame. Holy, it wasn't this lame when I was watching it and I drank half a bottle of whiskey. But then we get to when it is lame, because then they beat that ghost, and then he, like, they go back, and this reeks of like the manga was probably on the verge of cancelization, where they hard pivot from fighting ghosts to being like, well, to be on the ghost fighting squad, you need to be like good enough. So to determine that you're good enough, you have to fight Class B. By the way, there's a Class B, and then it becomes like a tournament of Class A versus Class B, and it's very generic shonen slop, but like not in a good way, like in a boring way, in a way that sucks. If it wasn't clear, the show's it's fine. 6 out of 10. Gave it a 6 out of 10. It's fine, but it fucking sucks. This part is like those like first few episodes, even though they were like kind of cringe and fucking stupid, they were at least like true to the premise of what it was, and not like, we gotta beat up those heckin' bullies. And then like Class A largely beats Class B, and they're like, the only one left is fucking Gara, and then it's like Gara is one of the ghosts now, and then that guy turns into a ghost, and they have to beat him, and then they beat him? Question mark. I don't remember. It was so fucking generic. And then, you know what the sad part is? It sounds so fucking lame, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it was fucking lame. I'll be watching season 2. I'll be seated. God damn. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Closer to a 4, I think. Now that I'm talking about it. We're rapidly approaching shit I watched, but like the last 2 things I watched, I finished in the same day. I didn't watch all of them. I watched them like slowly. So next we got Dorohedoro Season 2, which a little bit of backstory is that I know last year in one of the videos I definitely waxed about Season 1. But Season 2 started to air, and my gay boyfriend Andrew texted me and he's like, is Dorohedoro good? I really like the lizard guy who was like the main guy. And I remember thinking Season 1 was a little bit boring. Like, I gave it a 6 out of 10, so I obviously didn't hate it, but I remember like not loving it after like years of hearing how amazing it was. Which, you know, obviously that's fair to the series to hold that against it. It was like, people like it, it's bad. But then, you know, Andrew's like, hey, I want to watch it because a lizard guy. A little while after that, my friend Hannah texts me and she's like, I'm watching Dorohedoro. Have you seen this? What are your thoughts? And I'm like, okay, that's pretty close together that people have brought this up. And I think it was like a week after that, my friend Yuki messages me and she's like, hey, have you watched Dorohedoro? I'm about to watch Season 2. I need to watch a recap because it's been so long. Because Season 1 was like 2020 and Season 2 is now. So obviously it's a big fucking gap. And I'm like, that's a lot of people in a short span of time bringing up Dorohedoro. Fine, gun to my head, I'll watch Season 2. I was waiting for it to finish airing, to be honest, but I also forgot that it had come out at all. So then I was like, okay, I'll watch it, especially because I finished. No, okay, I was like, I felt like I started it after Black Clover, which maybe I did, because I watched like one episode, and I was watching like one episode a night, and then until like the end where I watched all of them right in a row. I watched like an episode a day for like half of it, and then the other half in one sitting. It was only 11 episodes long, so that's not like crazy, but I was confused because I was like, oh, I watched it right after Black Clover, but then I just talked about 3 things I watched in between the two, so we forgot how to be human, but this one's a little. I don't know if I can like for all of these now. I'm like, I don't know if I can recap this, which, you know, maybe this video won't be an hour long because I don't do it. I don't do it for once. I was definitely a little confused, and you know, my one friend said that they had to watch a recap because for them it had been 6 real life years. For me, it's only been 1 year since I watched Season 1. I should have watched a recap too because I was watching and I'm like, what is happening? Because it was like, there's the main lizard guy, and from what I remember, Season 1 ends with the main bad guy being like, I sure do want to fuck the main girl, kidnaps her, and then lizard guy going to save her. I remember that like implicitly. So then it cuts to the main villain and he's like with that girl, and I'm like, shouldn't she be with lizard guy? And then it would cut to her being with lizard guy, and because of that, I'm like, oh, these scenes with lizard guy must be a flashback. But then I like, eventually they made it clear that the girl that was with the villain was like another person, like using magic to pretend to be her, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not as stupid as we all think every time he opens his mouth. But yeah, so, you know, lizard guy's still on a quest to like find out why he's a lizard guy, There's another plot point about a guy being like, I need to find out who killed me. If that was in season 1, I don't remember it. I think it was, because I kind of remember. I think something I didn't like from season 1 was the one character whose name I don't remember, but it's like a group of like mercenaries called the Cross Eyes. They all have like tattoos of crosses over their eyes. My cat's in the window. My other cats are battling to the death outside. We love it. I remember in season 1 they just like randomly introduced the Cross Eyes bullshit, and I was like, who cares? Although it's like way heavily more important in this part. And did I say the score? I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really liked this season. I thought it was a big improvement over season 1. Although maybe if I rewatched season 1, I would like it even more now. I don't know. I will say it does end just kind of unceremoniously. They introduced the idea that Lizard Guy was Lizard Guy. I'm going to spoil. I'm doing spoilers. If you want to watch season 2, go watch it right now. Stop watching my bullshit. Watch season 2. Lizard Guy, I don't even remember if they find out why he's a lizard. But I know he stops being a lizard guy and becomes an... So, like, there's Kaimon when he's lizard head, and then later, he loses the lizard head and he's a normal guy again, and he's like, oh, there's 3 names. There's Kaimon. I don't remember the human one. It's like a Kane or something like that. And then there's another version where he's still human again, but he's like evil and fucked up and dark and twisted, and welcome to his dark and twisted mind, where he's called like just Kai. So they introduced this like split identity thing, and it ends just as we like go into the idea that the evil one like is trying to steal magic from other people, and it just kind of ends in a scene where it's like, oh, is he gonna get this other girl? So I wish it was longer than 11 episodes, but if it's ideally, it won't be another 6 years between seasons. Maybe I'll just go read the manga. Maybe I won't. I probably won't. But, yeah, I definitely think that season 2 was way better than season 1. At least, obviously, I don't remember anything from season 1. I just said that, where I'm like, I should have watched a recap too. My friend was spitting when they said that shit. I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice because I had to fucking restart the video like 7 times. So even though I'm only half an hour into this one, I'm really like over an hour into talking, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's move on. Now we're into things I watched like really recently. Like Dorohedoro season 2 was like last week, and these last 30 things were like over the last few days. Well, like Demon Slayer was like early last week too now, because it's Sunday. You don't need to know what day it is. Fuck off. So I watched the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie because they finally put it on digital. I remember thinking it was cringe because it came out last year in theaters, and then it left theaters, and I'm like, oh cool, it'll be on digital soon. Especially because like the Chainsaw Man movie was in theaters, it left theaters, very quickly was added to like rent or buy digitally, and then not too long ago, recently, it was added for streaming. I was like, like Chainsaw Man came out, maybe soon I'll be able to buy Demon Slayer. And they were like, put it back in the theaters 17 times so we could make even more money. And I'm like, fair enough, I guess, from a business standpoint that makes sense. But also, hey, I sure would like to watch this movie. It's not in theaters near me. Please fuck off. Up top, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I do remember before the movie... No, when the movie was in theaters, I should say, people were like... I saw a lot of people talking about how fucking boring this movie was, which I think... I don't understand that. I think it's a good movie, obviously. Giving it 8. I do think it's maybe... edging, like, with the complaints that I do have, it's maybe a little closer to a 7. But it gets the boost of being, like... really well voice acted, beautifully shot, movie budget, so it looks good. But my issues stem from the... I thought it was paced kind of weird. They introduced it with, like, there's only, like, the upper level bad guys left. But they start with, like, there's, like, number 3, number 2, and number 1 left. And they start the movie with, like, fighting number 2, and it's like, okay. But then they instantly cut away from that to, like, show other shit. So, they cut away from fighting number 2 to introduce number 6. And number 6 is a character that's never been talked about before at all, But then they're like, they really lay on thick that this is one of the main character's ultimate rival that has chosen the path of darkness and is now an evil, fucked up demon. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? Because I read the manga, and when I read the manga, I was like, who the fuck is this? Maybe they brought him up and I don't remember. But I really don't think in the previous 4 seasons that they were like, by the way, Zenitsu, the lightning swordsman, has a rival that is evil now, and he'll have to reckon with that eventually. I'm pretty sure this is the first time they brought it up, which is just poor storytelling, and I really think the author was just like, oh, fuck, I need something for Zenitsu to do. He's not going to fight the other upper level demons like everyone else. He gets to fight his evil boyfriend that exists now. You like that, right? And it's a cool fight, and like the actual plot of it all, other than being like nonsense at it at the last second, is good enough. Like, you know, I vibe with like, we were brothers and now you're evil, how could you? You know, I like that. Even though it was not introduced beforehand. Zenitsu famously only uses one move. He busts out a new secret move that he invented like on the spot, and it looks pretty fucking cool. And then they cut to the bulk of the movie, which is like the main guy and another guy that doesn't fucking matter, fighting the level 3 demon. And it's like, that makes sense. It makes sense to me to like have the first movie be against number 3, and then the next movie be about number 2, and then like the last movie be about number 1. Or I think based on timing, the second movie will be 2 and 1, and then the last movie will be where they fight the main bad guy. But we'll have to wait and see. When I'm watching that movie in 3 fucking years, when it leaves theater for the 900th time, my ultimate complaint, other than like kind of odd pacing and then the Zenitsu shit, that was a problem I had just with the story in general and not just the movie. But my problem, and this wasn't true for the entire movie, but there was points in this fucking movie where it felt like characters just started to talk in slow motion for some reason. I watched the English dub, because when the show was new, I watched season 1 in the sub, and then retroactively ever since I've watched just the dub. But like, it felt like for the most part, characters would be talking, and they would sound like humans. But then sometimes characters would talk, and they it's like they were told like, hey, we need to fit 2 hours. Slow it the fuck down. Start talking like you're watching on 0.5 speed. Start talking like the main character's a goddamn snail. Like, I don't understand. Like, to give like a hyperbolized example, it would be like the main kid would be like, I am Tanjiro Kamado, and I am fighting Akaza, the upper level 3 demon, and I can barely stand, but I have to get up so that I can beat him. And like just randomly, and I feel like it was the main guy this was happening to a lot, but I also noticed it with the guy he's with, Giyu, or even Akaza himself. I was like, can we speed it the fuck up? Can you just talk like you're a normal human being? I know it's a show about fucking swordsmen fighting demons. I know it's not real, but like, people don't talk like that. I am Tanjiro, and I am like, it was really, really distracting. And maybe other people would be like, I didn't notice that. You're being a fucking snob. And I'm like, you know what? I am, but I noticed it enough for it to fucking bother me, and it bothered me enough that's where I'm like, maybe this movie's a fucking 7. And if all 3 movies are gonna sound like that, it's definitely gonna piss me off. Which, like, maybe I should just switch to the sub for the next 2 movies, but I'm definitely not going to do that, so I'm just gonna be annoyed. I'm just gonna be in a cage of my own making, like, why are they doing this to me? Talk normal, fuck. I will give a shout out to, I remember when the movie was, the dubcast was announced, they were like, Channing Tatum from 21 Jump Street is going to be voicing a character in the movie, and I was like, that's a bad idea, because he's Channing Tatum, and not a voice actor. And this almost never works out when you just have random celebrities do voice acting. At least in my opinion, it's usually just a bad idea. Then we get to the movie, and he voices Akaza's karate teacher, and I thought he did a totally good job. If I didn't know it was Channing Tatum, I wouldn't be like, that's fucking Channing Tatum, and he sounds like shit and piss. He actually sounds pretty good. So I'll give, you know what, I'll give props to Channing Tatum. I'll give props to whoever the director was for that character. I'll also want to kill the director with a big knife for the fucking slow motion talking. Fuck you for that. What was that? But yeah, 8 out of 10. Gets a boost for being like a really beautiful movie. The character writing for Akaza is really good, even though I don't love the trope of the Demon Slayer being like, well, I'm a demon on my deathbed, here's my sad backstory. It's a little like, the character's about to die, I don't really give a shit anymore. If this was Naruto, they would spend like 20 episodes about this before getting back to the actual fight. And not after the fight's over. Do what I know. Anyway, but yeah, 8 out of 10. It's probably a movie I'll never like rewatch. Like, I gave Chainsaw Man like a 10, and I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I'm like, this is fucking peak. This is awesome. And I definitely want to rewatch that movie, or like the Dragon Ball movies I really like, or even Bleach movie. Like I would rather rewatch like the fourth Bleach movie, which is like a 7. I don't know what I actually have given it, but it's like fine. It's good enough. I would rather rewatch the Bleach movie than rewatch this. Maybe that also has to do with length, because like 2.5. I think it's like 2 hours 40 minutes. That's a long time. And my time is so precious. I could be playing Overwatch in that time. I could be losing games in Overwatch in that time. Anyway, it's time to move on. The next thing I watched was The Helpful Fox Senko-san, which when I was watching it, allegedly pirated, it had the Japanese title, so it was like Mischievous Senko-sama or something like that. But the plot of this one is that there's this guy, he's depressed as fuck, he's super overworked, he wants to blow his brains out. He's actually a lot like me. And there's these fox goddesses chilling in the spirit realm, and they're like, I forget the setup because I watched episode 1 like way before I watched the rest of the show. I watched like episode 1 and 2 like months ago, and then I watched the rest like last week. But there's these like fox girls that are like goddesses chilling in another world, and they're like, that guy's sad as fuck, let's go cheer him up. And then the one girl goes and like moves in with him and becomes his, she literally refers to herself as his wife and his mother. And that's the plot. It's just this depressed guy getting a magical fox wife, making his life better. And don't we all agree that I'm the one that deserves that and not this guy? I mean, what the fuck? I'm depressed as fuck, I'm overworked as fuck, and I live in a fucking pigsty, and I go to bed alone without a fox wife. Well, I mean, how's that fair? Anyway. I gave it a 7. It's pretty sweet. It's a little bit generic. I think maybe it's closer to a 6 than a 6, 7. It's closer to a 6 than an actual 7. But I liked it. You know, the fox girls are cute. There's 3 fox girls, and they show up like, there's the main fox girl and the other 2 show up intermittently. It's just kind of like wholesome, like kind of a rom-com, kind of just a slice of life. But I liked it. Is this old? 2019. So there's definitely no season 2 coming. If there's a manga, maybe I'll go read it, but probably not. If there's a season 2 coming, I would definitely, I'd still watch more, but I probably won't go rush to read the manga because it's like generic enough where I won't really get anything out of it. You know what? Maybe if I'm like maximum depressed, I'll be like, I need my fox girl hit. Click. Yeah. Anyway, 7, 6 out of 10. It's fine. Probably not a lot to get out of it unless you want to. It's definitely a show that's like I'm fucking doing right now, just self-insert and be like, oh, I want a fox wife. Anyway, moving on is the last thing I watched. Which it's a little interesting for anilist because this is something I watched. I could have talked about half of it for last month's video, but I watched Urusei Yatsura, the 2022 remake, because this Urusei Yatsura is the first manga that the author of Inuyasha and Ranma made. This is like her big break. So it has I think it's from the 70s. So there's like an older anime that I've not watched, but I watched the Ranma remake. I knew this existed, and I liked Ranma so much. And I read Inuyasha. I liked that so much. I'm like, maybe she's 3 for 3. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute because I'm like, oh, we're at the end. Let's fucking speedrun this. Let me slow down. Let me calm the fuck down. So I liked Inuyasha a lot. Liked Ranma a lot. I think I gave season 2 of Ranma a 9. So it's like, is she just like the GOAT? Is she just like on my Mount Rushmore of manga artists? Like, is this also going to be really good? I gave it a 7, which is good. Shut up. My cats are fucking screaming and hollering. It's a comedy. It's like a gag manga with hints of romance, which like So kind of like Ranma, although Ranma I think is a little more substantial with its character writing, which I feel a little bad holding something like that against this when this was her first thing. I'm like, well, Inuyasha and Ranma are better. I fucking hope they are because they came out after. It would be a little unfortunate. I'm like, Urusei Yatsura was her first thing, and it's the only thing she made that was good. But 7 out of 10. It's good. It's a comedy, and more often than not, it's making me laugh or be like, the romance moments. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. It does its job. Episode 1, the basic idea, which hold on, I forgot. I could have talked about the first half in my, what month is it? In my June video. Because on anilist it's listed as Urusei Yatsura seasons 1 and 2, and then it says episodes watched 23, but it's season 1 is 12 and then season 2 is 12 or whatever, they're both 11 or whatever. But for some reason anilist has them together, and it does the same thing for seasons 3 and 4. So maybe they aired concurrently, I don't know. Maybe season 1 ended and season 2 aired without missing a beat, I don't know, because it's from 2022, and who can remember that far back? That's ancient history. Episode 1 is the setup that there's this guy called Ataru Maraboshi, or Mamboshi, whatever, and he has a girlfriend, and he's trying to fuck her real good. Why'd I say that? That's not true. He has a girlfriend, and then the Earth is invaded by aliens, and the aliens look like demon people, and the main, the head clansman of the demon race, is one human is gonna have to face off in a game of tag against my daughter Lum, who's the main girl. You've maybe seen her. I think she's got a pretty iconic character design. Maybe I can look. There she is. I could have shown that better. It's too late. We're moving on. So he has to get her in a game of tag, and then he does, and I forget why, but they pick him, and he's a useless fucking idiot. He just sucks dick, and they're Ataru is the one that has to play the game of tag, and the rule is if he doesn't get her, humanity is doomed. Cool. That's good. Yeah, we're definitely not fucked. We're fucked. By the end of the episode, he wins the game of tag, and then for some reason, I don't remember why, because that episode, I watched a month or more than that ago. Lum falls in love with him, and she only calls him darling, and she's I think they're married technically because he won the game or something like that. But Ataru is he's a real man whore, and every girl he sees he tries to brutally molest. He's just come here baby, and then he full tackles them, and I guess that's just something that the author likes, because there's a similar character, although it's a little worse in Ranma. There's characters that are this trope in everything she's done. Actually, she likes the pervert trope, I guess. It's something that makes her laugh, I suppose. Although this is the first time it's the main character, because in Ranma it's a side character, and then in Inuyasha it's one of the main characters, but not Inuyasha himself. But every episode is basically most episodes it's 10 minutes of something and then 10 minutes of something else, so it's 2 storylines per episode. And it's just Ataru and the gang are hanging out, and then maybe some alien thing shows up to interact with Lum, and then hijinks ensue. Or a trope that happened a lot was there's a new kid at school and here's their gimmick. The last character that this happens with is there's a girl, but she was raised to be a guy by her dad, so she's super manly, and she's I just want to be seen as a hot, sexy, feminine lady, even though when Ataru tries to fucking essay her, she's get off me, you fucking weirdo. Well, I mean, she wants to be seen as a woman, but she doesn't just fuck him. No, I'm kidding. But that the first character happens with, it's a rich guy shows up, and his gimmick is that he's super rich and sexy, and all the ladies want him, and then it just keeps happening where a fellow alien from Lum's planet shows up at some point, then the lady boy I just brought up shows up, and then the school nurse shows up. I feel like I'm talking about nothing. It doesn't matter. You don't care. I don't care, clearly. But yeah, it's pretty funny. It's not I don't know that it was ever super laugh out loud funny, but I understood what that things were funny, which I realize it makes it sound like it's not funny at all, but it is. I promise. I'll probably get to seasons 3 and 4 like pretty quickly because I like it enough. I do think that the author is Rumiko Takahashi. I think she might be like the fucking goat because this is good. Ron was great. Inuyasha was great. I'm really looking forward to watching Mao, her current manga, which is like 300 chapters deep, just got an anime. It's like airing right now, but I'm waiting for it to finish so I can binge it. And I'm like, Mao's probably gonna be fucking awesome too if all these things are good. Like, Urusei Yatsura is the worst one, and it's still a 7. Like, that's pretty fucking good, all things considered. Like, I think I'll cement right now. Like, this could be a video on its own of me doing like my Mount Rushmore of mangaka. We got Akira Toriyama. We got maybe Oda because I love One Piece so much, and then Rumiko Takahashi, and then who knows who I would put in the 4th slot. But like everything she does is just so fucking good. I guess I love her. I wish she was mine. I'm talking nonsense. And like like always, I'm pretty dog shit at editing videos because that's the last thing I watched in the month of July. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.